Coming up on today's show, we will break down some of my top 2025 NFL draft winners and losers, risers and fallers, whatever you want to call it, after week 1 and week 0, kind of the college football season. Now, we're not going to get to every player, and it's only one game, or two in a couple of people's cases there, but it is worth having the conversation of, and good names to keep in mind as they grow and develop and have an entire college football season still in front of them. Speaking of, if you want NFL draft updates all season long, then like today's video. The more likes we get, the better chance I will be allowed to keep doing these NFL draft passion projects because the views come along with them. So like today's video for me right now. Let's go quarterback heavy to start here. Cam Ward out of Miami, Florida, the former Incarnate Word, former Washington State quarterback. Gators are bad, Hurricanes are good is your big takeaway from week 1. Shout out Billy Napier, you're going to get fired, buddy. Cam Ward was very impressive against a team that, we might look back on and say they just weren't a very good football team. Very real possibility of that. And I've seen some national conversation of like, wow, Cam Ward put himself on the map. Cam Ward has been on the map. He was awesome to begin last season at Washington State. 74.5% completion percentage, 9.9 yards per attempt, 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and then not through his own fault entirely. The Cougars fell apart. So I love seeing Cam Ward play well. I've seen him play well before. I need to see him do it over the entire course of his season. If he does that, one of these quarterbacks in a down class is going to rise. It could very well be Cam Ward. And if he does that, he might just win the Heisman Trophy for the Hurricanes. I thought Drew Allar played pretty well for Penn State. I'll give him a slight edge over some other quarterbacks we'll get to here, mostly because of the level of competition involved. West Virginia is probably going to be a bowl team again this year. 11 of 17, 216 yards, 3 touchdowns, some big plays in there, mostly accurate, didn't turn the football over. Again, for all these players, it is a totality of the season thing. Great job playing well against West Virginia. Play well against some of the better Big Ten teams you face. NFL teams still love the big guy with the strong arm. That's Drew Allar. Just got to be more consistently impactful. Let's go to Miller Moss. And to an extent, I think we're going to have some issues in the NFL draft media of we're really trying hard to find a quarterback. We're going to have to hype somebody up because it's not the same class it's been in some previous years. I do think Miller Moss played pretty well. What we're not going to do is do the nonsense about, does he give USC a better chance at Caleb Williams? No. Having a defense that doesn't pee down their pants every time they face a kid out of high school is going to help them. That defense was so much better against LSU overall. I saw some good stuff from Miller Moss. It's probably going to get more challenging since LSU is just a bad team week 1 for whatever reason. They always find fun ways to lose or not so fun ways, but progress. I even thought Garrett Nussmeier played pretty well for LSU. There were some fun plays on his tape. Thought Shadur Sanders checked off. Shadur Sanders, Jalen Milroe, and Quinn Ewers all playing lesser competition. Checked off those boxes. I'm not going to overreact to those guys, but they didn't do anything bad like some other guys we'll get to later on in today's show. Thought even Carson Beck was fine. I don't think there's a clear-cut QB1 right now. Edge, I guess, is still Beck after that was the consensus guy, quote-unquote, entering the year. Still a wide-open race. Who will be QB1 in the 2025 NFL Draft? It's the pinned comment on today's video. That ad comes on YouTube. Take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. There were a lot of running backs I wanted to give some love to. I thought Marion Hampton played well. Ollie Gordon played well. Several others I thought were really impactful. How can you not go with Ashton Jeanty, though? Now, look, it's a very different level of competition. It is Georgia Southern. But you know what? 20 carries for 267 yards. Last I checked, that's pretty good. I think that's a really incredible start to a season. Big test for Jeanty to announce himself as RB1 this upcoming week. Oregon. Much different matchup. But if he can have some success, look out. I might put the most impressive week 1 performance on the shoulders of Tetairoa McMillan, the Arizona wide receiver. I don't know if you guys were up late watching guess it's not Pac-12 After Dark, but I still kind of want to call it Pac-12 After Dark because it's funnier. Big 12 After Dark. 15 targets, 10 catches for 304 yards and 4 scores. McMillan is a big receiver. He's tall. He doesn't move like he's tall and leggy and stiff. He's really good after the catch. Very impressed by his play. I want to see him actually be better at like the more typical big receiver stuff, contested catches, etc. But the Arizona offense at times is no Fafita going, F it, my grade school buddy's down there somewhere. And it works. It was New Mexico. But still, it was an awesome performance out of McMillan. Let's get some defenders in here. Malaki Starks had the really awesome interception. The highlight reel was maybe the most impressive part. The ability to get himself in position to even make the play with what he was doing there against the slot fade. That's Earl Thomas, prime Earl Thomas-esque. Now, today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time has a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks. Makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to a college football game like, I don't know, Texas at Michigan in the game of the week. A concert, if you want to go see the Post Malone, which I assume will be the country album tour for him in Nashville, or any NFL game. Game Time has you covered. The Game Time guarantee means you will always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Let's stick with Georgia. Back-to-back winners here. Jalon Walker. Much buzz made about Michael Williams. I thought he played pretty well. Michael Williams did. Did get hurt. Jalon Walker comes in and dominates. 6 tackles, a sack and a half, a TFL and a half, and 2 pressures on 10 pass rush snaps. 10. Highly efficient. Wasn't really on my radar the same way other players at Georgia were, but very impressive week 1 performance out of Walker. Let's go to South Carolina. Now, that passing offense is an affront to all things modern-day football, but that pass rush is damn good. Funnily enough, we're only doing draft-eligible players. I thought the most impressive guy was still in students, a true freshman. We didn't put on this list. But Kyle Kennard against Old Dominion here. 34 pass rush snaps, 5 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 4.5 TFLs, 6 pressures. Some of those pressures and sacks set up by the defensive lineman, TJ Sanders. Now, box score says 2 tackles. He had 4 quarterback hits on 5 pressure and 5 pressures on 28 pass rush reps. If you're hitting the quarterback every 7 pass rush snaps, that's really good, actually. Both guys, Sanders, Kennard was kind of more of a sleeper. Sanders had some love in the draft community, too. Both guys impressive. Lesser competition, of course. Let's see how they fare in the SEC play. I want you to name a 2025 NFL Draft Week 1 winner from college football. A lot of names that I'm not getting to. I apologize in advance. I'm sure there'll be some, yeah, it's a great name you throw in there. Put them in there for me in the comments of today's show. I'm just going to cheat and group 5 different receivers together here. Travis Hunter is him. We kind of knew that already. That's meeting expectations against bad teams, dominating the game. I thought Xavier Restrepo played really well for the Hurricanes. Deion Burks only caught 6 passes. 3 of them were touchdowns. Again, lesser competition. Thought Jimmy Horn played pretty well. Again, Ole Miss had bad competition, but they also, Trey Harris had a big game. All these guys, some of them have been in first-round mocks, some haven't. I think they all helped themselves from a national perspective. If you guys want even more NFL YouTube videos, you've come to the right spot. Hit that sub button. It's youtube.com/chatsportstv for more NFL videos all season and off-season long. We have to talk losers, too. That is how this works. And I don't know if there was a bigger... Well, there is one bigger loser in college football in general. But from a draft perspective, expectations was what we got in week 1. Boy, Connor Weigman was rough. Now, look, this might be a a offensive fit issue where maybe his skill set doesn't match up with what Colin Klein wants to do, that's fine. But come on, you can't be potential quarterback one, as some hyped him up to be, and go 12 of 30 for 100 yards with 2 interceptions against Notre Dame. And look, that's a good Notre Dame defense. I think Mark Stoops, a really good coach, was bad. We can say it was bad. And it doesn't answer the biggest question I had going into the season. You can watch some of our other videos. We have now updated this graphic. Connor Weigman against Power 5 / now Power 4, and I guess Notre Dame, we'll count them in there, games against non-Power 5 opponents. He goes from 76.1 to 53.8% completion percentage. The average yards per attempt is almost cut in half. 7 TDs in 3 games versus 9 and 7. 0 INTs versus 4. He has yet to prove to me, outside of really just one good game against Ole Miss and a half good game against Miami, that he's good against the best competition. He has yet to prove he's not a lesser competition merchant. I think he can be. I think that his skill set was a little bit overblown, and this could be a prime. He transfers somewhere else, tries to save his stock with a more typical passing offense next year, if things don't get turned around. Let's go to Donovan Smith, the Houston QB, who I also know had some love around the draft community. Big guy, athletic ability, arm talent. Boy, it was a disaster against UNLV. 15 of 31 for 135 yards. Do the math, it's a really bad yards per attempt. 2 interceptions. Houston lost to UNLV, a team that doesn't really have much of a normal drop-back passing game. Always a red flag there. He got to be a lot better, or that preseason hype is going to quickly go away. So name a loser for me as it relates to the NFL draft from week 1 of college football. Let me know in the comments of today's show. I am going to put DJ Uiagalelei on here, DJU, and also the Florida State fan who has to eat the poop now. Look, I was never that high on him. I thought he was hidden in the Oregon State offense that was so run-heavy. I didn't think he was going to be this bad at Florida State. Honestly, I kind of think he has the yips a little bit. Like that corner route in the end zone is a grade school level throw. Not even high school. That is a grade school throw. Now, maybe it's like 8th grade school, but that is a throw every quarterback should make. He's wide open. You can underthrow him, and it's a touchdown. To not even give him a chance, that was a yippee throw to me. He cannot move the ball downfield right now. He looks wildly uncomfortable. It's a disaster. There were people who thought he was going to be drafted by the NFL this year. I was never on board with that. But I didn't think this was going to be this bad. FSU is a disaster right now. In kind of embarrassing fashion, they look like they didn't practice anything all season. They're taking the cheese on every play action too. Quarterback wise, you might have to make a change here to save the season. Should FSU bench DJU? Y for yes, N for no. Donovan Edwards, next up on the list. There was a point where it was like, who's better, Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards? Edwards wasn't as good last season and kind of didn't do great against Fresno State either. 11 carries for just 27 yards. Now, I will say about Donovan Edwards, he's a big game hunter. He gets up for the biggest games of the season. He did it last year down the stretch for Michigan too. Can he do it against Texas? If he does, awesome, we're back in it. Otherwise, look, Cleo Mullins looked better. 15 of 92. That's a red flag for Edwards. Sorry, FSU fans, but the final name on this list is Patrick Payton. And I had put him in some round 1 conversations. Like, I like the guy. He's got some traits, got some skills. Where is he? I think I need an APB out on Patrick Payton. You're playing Boston College and Georgia Tech, and you've had 33 pass rush snaps, and you have 1 pressure? 1? And I get the quality ain't that great, but that is not top 50 pick production. So I think you can get it turned around, but it got to be a lot better as they move forward.